Hey guys, this baguette is so quick and easy that you'll be going banana yourself. So if that sounds good to you, let's get started. So to start, I have 1 cup of warm water, so not hot, not cold, in my bowl, and I'm gonna sprinkle over 2 teaspoons of yeast. And I'm using instant yeast, or it's also called traditional yeast, if you're wondering. And now I am gonna add in 1 teaspoon of sugar to help feed the yeast, followed by 1 teaspoon of salt. And then I am just going to give that a quick mix and let it proof for a few minutes. I am just going to do about 3 minutes of proofing and then I'm going to get going on the rest. So while the yeast rises, I am simply going to measure out 4 cups of all-purpose flour just to have it ready for mixing in. And we are going to keep our flour that we have in our storage container with us because we will have to flour the surface, which I've cleaned with disinfectant and then wiped over it with a wet water paper towel, so just paper towel soaked in water, and then I dried it off. For this, you will also need some additional water, but I am unsure how much I needed, so I just started with a cup to get the yeast going, and then I'll add it as I go until it creates a nice shaggy consistency, which we'll do right after this. So now that my dough has sat for a few minutes, I got prepared 1 cup of water that is also warm, but we are going to start by adding in our 4 cups of flour. Make sure to get it all out. And then we're going to mix this. It should be fairly wet, not shaggy, just to double correct myself again. And then after that, we'll let it sit for 30 minutes covered. I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. So this is what I mean by fairly wet. It should not be a smooth ball. It should literally be a bit sloppy, but holds together. And then we're just going to let that rest for 30 minutes. And now once that is sat for roughly 30 minutes, it'll look like this. It shouldn't be double as of yet. And I am just going to simply stretch and fold it on itself. And then I'll cover this and I will let it sit for 60 minutes. And that's when we'll want it to be double and kind of bubbly. So I will see you after an hour and then we'll form our loaves. Now that this is almost done rising, all I'm going to do is line a tray with some parchment, and I'm going to pre-flour my counter just so it's ready for this to come out with plenty of flour since it is nice and wet for a dough. So keep in mind for this next part, you are supposed to divide it into 3 loaves, but I am just going to do 2 and make them a bit thinner just so that it cooks about the same time. Now, while our dough finishes rising, we are going to preheat our oven to 450 Fahrenheit. And now that my dough has doubled in size, I am just going to place it on top of my flour. And I am going to flour up my hands and the other side of the dough, and then I am going to form the loaves. So all I am going to do, if you're doing this the proper way, you want to divide it into 3, but I am just going to cut it down the middle like this. And that'll get me my 2 loaves. And also when you divide it in 3, you're going to go lengthwise also rather than widthwise. So this way, not this way. And I can tell it's nice and bubbly too, so I'm happy about that. And then I am just going to put it on my baking sheet, nice and carefully, to ensure that the bubbles stay in the bread. Now a helpful hint for cleaning up flour, do not get it wet, otherwise it'll stick to your counter. Instead, what you want to do is you want to take your bench scrape and clean it up. And then from there, after it's all cleaned up, you're going to want to wipe it down with some water or some disinfectant. And it'll make it a lot easier to clean. And now that our loaves are formed, I'm going to wait for my oven to preheat to 450 Fahrenheit, as I said earlier. And we are going to bake this for 25 to 30 minutes. My oven sings to me. And now that the oven is preheated, all I am going to do is place my bread in, and again, 25 to 30 minutes. And it is tea time for me. And this is what they look like when they come out of the oven. You can tell they're done by tapping. And if they have a hollowish sound, you know they're done inside and out. And ideally you would let this cool before you sliced into it, but I'm just gonna give it a try for you just so you know how good it is. So just get a little bit of butter and spread it on your hot bread. Ooh! Butterfingers. And then I am just gonna give this a try. If you've never tried baking your own bread from scratch, it is so easy once you know what you're kind of looking for. So if you're looking for a really good baguette recipe, this is definitely for you. I mean, look at the crevices in there and the nice crispy outside. That is exactly what you want in a baguette. And the secret is every time you make your baguette, you want the oven to be at least at 425 to 450 Fahrenheit. And this baguette also has a really nice flavor. So if you're concerned about that, don't be. It's just so nice, so good all around. And until next time, a banana.